Hello, so it's been 23 days apparently since I last posted on here, and it doesn't feel that way to me at all. So I thought I would touch on an interesting topic, and that is time blindness and ADHD and autism. And time blindness, especially when it comes to hyper focusing on something. My last day of work was June 15th. I work out of school, right? So today is June 30th. And so it's been 2 weeks and it doesn't feel that way at all because I've been so hyper focused on credit cards. That is my current hyper focus. Um, for those of you who don't know, I am an immigrant and a daughter of immigrants. So growing up, my parents didn't know anything about credit scores or how to handle credit cards. And so I made some really stupid mistakes. And that got my credit cards sent to collections and tanked my credit score for like most of my early to mid 20s. And even in my later 20s, because those collections were there for on my report for 7 years. And even though I did go and try to pay most of them off, it wasn't until recently where my credit score started improving. It's now at 720, which isn't perfect, but it's better than it was. And so I started researching travel credit cards because I do want to travel. I went to Japan in 2024 and I thought that was amazing, and I want to just see other places. And I learned about how credit card gurus sign up for credit cards to use the travel points, and they put all their daily spending on the credit card, but pay it off before the statement um, is due. That way, they don't get charged any interest, which is the correct way to use credit cards. Always pay it off in full, right? And then they just use like the 2x or the 3x points that they get from the spending through the travel portals to be able to travel, basically. And that's something I want to start doing. And so I went down a rabbit hole of researching how to use a credit card, what are the best travel credit cards, how to get approved for the credit cards, the do's and don'ts, and everything. For the past 2 weeks, I've been doing that, and it literally feels like a blur, feels like only a day has passed. And it is so interesting because when I'm really intensely focused on something, there is no concept of time. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but this also goes for like when I'm trying to survive. So I graduated with my master's degree in speech and language pathology last month in May, and the full-time clinical placements were really rough, and I have a couple videos talking about that. And so I was just the last couple months of my graduate program, I was really just trying to survive, where like I would ignore anybody's texts, anybody's calls, just because I didn't feel like I had the mental energy to deal with anything that wasn't just schoolwork and trying to make it through my clinical placements to get a good passing grade from my supervisors. Um, and I had somebody message me from my previous cohort, and we had been kind of talking back and forth, and he knew I was having a little bit of a difficult time with my clinical placements, especially at the beginning. And he messaged me like the first day or second day of May because he knew that was going to be my first week of my last week of my clinical placement. And he was like, "Hey, just checking in. And I think this is your last week of your clinical placements. Congratulations. Congratulations. How's it going?" And I didn't respond till like a month later, literally, when I was out of the woods and I knew I had passed all my classes and I had passed my clinical placements and I walked for my graduation. That's when my brain decided, okay, we can interact with other human beings now. And I messaged him back and I said, "I'm so sorry. It's been crazy. I hope you're doing well. And I asked him, I forgot what I asked him, something about like, if he was still in his CF year, which is the year that comes after graduation, because he graduated before me. And he didn't respond. And then I kind of felt bad because I was like, crap. I wonder if he got upset because it took me so long to respond. Um, um, I guess I wouldn't be happy either if somebody didn't respond to my message for that long. And I see, and that's the thing about being neurodivergent. Like, this concept of time blindness can cost us so much. I think, like friendships, it can cost us, I don't know, like to a certain extent, like it. it affects so much of our daily lives that we don't really even realize until we think about it, right? Because, like, why didn't I respond sooner? Why was my brain like, no, we don't have the energy to do that right now, so it's just gonna have to wait. And it's really annoying. Anyway, another thing about time blindness and time passing. I feel like a lot of things take me longer to process, and I don't notice how long it takes me to process certain things. I talked about this in a previous video about how during my clinical placements, I was expected to give speech therapy to groups of kiddos of 2 to 3 at a time, right? And each session was like 20 to 25 minutes long, and there were literally only 5 minutes, maybe if that, in between sessions. And in some cases, there wasn't any time in between sessions. And I'm very bad at managing time and multitasking. So when you're giving a speech therapy, you're expected to provide cueing and prompting, tell the kid what to do with their mouth, how to make certain sounds, keep data while you're doing that at the same time. Keep data, track the trials that they got correct versus incorrect, and what helped them and what didn't help, and then kind of move on to the next kid in the group. And for me, like, I would spend too much time working with one kid and not enough time working with another kid. And I feel like, again, that time blindness plays into that, right? The time blindness affects how well I can conduct my sessions and making sure that everyone's getting an appropriate amount of therapy during the sessions and not spending too much time with one kiddo. And then wrapping up the sessions. Eventually, I started setting a timer where I would set the timer for like 3 to 5 minutes before the session ended, so that that would give me time to like give them their stickers and put their files away and start prepping for the next session. But even with the timer, it takes me longer to process things. Okay, it takes me longer to finish writing the data, to put the files away, to get things ready for the next session. Whereas, like, I would tell myself, okay, great, that session's up. I have like 5 minutes to clean up, finish data tracking, clean up, and get ready for the next session. And those 5 minutes would literally pass in a blur. Literally felt like 30 seconds, where my supervisor would be like, you were supposed to go get the other kids for their sessions a minute ago. Their session already started. You're late for their session, kind of thing. Um, and like, it wasn't their fault. It was my executive dysfunction, as I like to call it, and poor like organization and time management habits, that I think made things unnecessarily difficult for me. Um, and again, even with the timer, right? The timer only helps so much. It's the fact that it takes me longer to process things, and I don't even realize that I've been sitting there doing something for 5 minutes, where to me it just feels like I've been doing it for 30 seconds. So that's another concept of time blindness that really messes me up. And I think that when you're in the field like speech and language pathology, where you're expected to go, 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 and have excellent time management skills and organization skills and everything, it's really taxing, constantly feeling like you're behind and like you can never catch up. And I think that's part of the reason why that, and having to mask all day around people, why when I get home, I'm absolutely exhausted. Um, and yeah, another thing that I've been hyper focused on is trying to increase my streams of passive income, because eventually I do want to go down to just working part time, because I think that's more manageable for me. I love this field and making a difference, and I love what I do. But I think I need to cut down to part time eventually, and maybe even try teletherapy. I think it'll just be easier for my brain, the way my brain works, and my nervous system. And in order to do that, I feel like I need to increase my passive income. So I make about $10 like a month on Teachers Pay Teachers, which is not much, but it's something. And I have another YouTube channel where I do like graphic design tutorials and Cricut tutorials. That channel used to be monetized because I have the necessary subscriber count. I have like 2,000 subscribers on there. So it was monetized a couple of years ago, but then I posted a video that I didn't know was going to get me demonetized, but it did. Um, and so now I'm trying to post more videos because I need 4,000 watch hours to get it monetized again, and I don't have that because I haven't really been posting recently. I kind of abandoned the channel and I'm trying to get back to it. So if you guys want to help me out with the watch hours, if like graphic design tutorials and learning how to use the Cricut is something that you guys are interested in, I will leave the link to my other channel down below. Um, because yeah, apparently my brain decided that instead of resting and recovering and getting ready for next year, we are just going to embark on a bunch of side quests.